Hey there, guys. Welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard. With me are Thomas Shelby
Hi.
and Ryan
What
Robinson.
up, what up, what up, what up, what up? First time here, glad to be here.
So, what have you guys' weeks been like? What have you been playing?
It's been a good week. It's been a good week this week. I've been playing some of the original Nier, and that's been going good. And I've been playing Metal Gear Rising, which I've tried before and played for a couple hours and then got out of it. Do it again, play for a couple hours, get out of it. But I've been sticking it out. I'm farther in the game than I've ever been, and that game is so badass. Like you're basically cyborg ninja Dracula, and it's just a lot of fun. Like it's got this parry system that's just so fun to do. It's just a lot of fun. Good game.
What about you, Ryan?
Um, I've been playing a lot of No Man's Sky this week, and as of this morning, I have the platinum.
Yeah, he's
Fuck
the
yeah.
proud father of a platinum.
Yeah, it's a baby boy. And then we started Assassin's Creed Odyssey this afternoon, and
That's a long one.
yeah, and I knew that going in, but you know, I feel like it's
Tell
doable.
Shanae what you texted me about that game.
About Odyssey,
Yeah,
What did you
hold on,
text him?
let me, cause I can't.
about climbing the statue.
Oh yeah, so there's a part very early in the game where you can climb up and around a statue of Zeus, and the statue of Zeus in this depiction he is completely nude, and so his peepee is rendered as well, and you can climb on the peepee, and Kaylee and I were just sitting here. We were talking about something, and then as soon as we saw that, we both started giggling like Beavis and Butthead about it.
And then immediately did
Yeah,
it.
it's a
Man,
it's just a very large, flaccid, uncircumcised penis in that video game.
sure.
And a great chair. And just a place to hang out.
Yeah, so I mean, if you like, look, if you like historically accurate video games, and you like Greek mythology, and you like good statues,
they put they put a bale of hay beneath it so you can dive from it.
no, actually, like, so I've always thought the whole bale of hay thing was kind of suspect,
Yeah,
because they're jumping from such a great height that a bale of
right.
hay is really not going to help you. Well,
Also,
now,
you're gonna see that person fall.
sure, but now
Yeah.
it's not a bale of hay; it's a couple of bushes. That's
Okay,
it.
oh, that's better.
It's a couple
That's
of bushes.
actually that's more suspect because
Yeah.
bushes have hard branches.
Well, like they're like very small bushes too. So
Yeah.
I don't know, but so far, so you get the choice to play as either Alexios or Cassandra. I've been hearing on the internet since the game came out that Cassandra is a better choice. Also, apparently, Cassandra is the canonical character, so been playing as her, and so far it's pretty cool. Had some out of anime stuff early on, didn't care for it. Luckily, it didn't last long, but so far the game's pretty all right. And
Uh,
that's all I've been playing. I think, yeah,
finished saving my computer, installed my Windows 10 key, and so I am up and
Nice.
running on
nice,
my tower.
Nice. Hell
nice.
yeah.
It's super nice playing games with the stark contrast to my laptop, which was not great.
What are you playing on that some
And
bitch?
so same things I've been playing, Master Chief Collection. Now that it's my own computer, a lot of the old Atome games that I haven't replayed because I wasn't gonna download all of them on Berto's computer,
Sure.
and a lot of them worked on my laptop, but like some of them just like didn't run very well.
That's surprising.
It's like
It's like PowerPoint, basically, you know?
Yeah.
it would just like take a really long time to load, and the game
Yeah.
would just like crash a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Yikes.
Um, yeah, but now they seem to be like, working a lot better. And then Yeah, I re-downloaded Danganronpa. Like, not that I need a better computer, but like, now that I have a computer and I want to play more games, I'm gonna finally like actually play that. Don't know necessarily when though. And then
It's a commitment.
I got paid, so I bought the Pokemon DLC,
Nice.
and I am seeing more of the complaints that we talked about last time, as far as like on there. But overall, I still am pretty hyped about it,
That's all that
and
matters.
it's not enough to like it bothers me in the game, nor does it make it unplayable in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh,
and
can I
then
say I watched my sister play Animal Crossing, and I haven't touched Animal Crossing in a long time. And
they changed a lot.
they've got that thing where you can like go to sleep and wake up on like a dream island. Have you guys done this?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I found a bunch of like codes online for like weird and funny islands, you know?
Yeah.
And we went to this island that was Denny's, and like you go in the Denny's and it looks like a normal Denny's, and then you go in the kitchen and that's all normal. But if you go to the basement of the Denny's, there's bloody trash bags and like
What?
anatomy dummies in the background.
Cool.
Yeah,
Love it.
it's like
Tom,
Denny's.
Tom, real quick, tell Sinead the ice cream story.
About Leia?
Yeah, it's so cute. I love this story. It's so
That's
cute.
not game related.
I don't care. It's really cute, and I feel like she'd love it.
I was watching my niece and we're eating ice cream. You know, it's like those little single serving cups of ice cream.
Yeah,
Like Bluebell makes them, you know?
like it's like a paper lid on top, and it's like yeah.
So I finished my ice cream first because I'm large, you know. And
Large
I was
and in
telling
charge.
her about how I was sad about my ice cream being gone, and she tried to give me her ice cream.
Isn't that
That was
so
pretty
cute?
That
Also,
is really sweet.
gaming related, I helped her mod Minecraft, and she hugged me harder than she ever has because that's how excited she was.
So when you say mod
It's
Minecraft,
what
what is
matters
that
to
exactly?
her the most.
Like literally, like
Well,
put installing mods?
yeah, like
Okay.
I installed this mod for her that basically makes Minecraft a first person Pokemon game.
Cool.
So she was pretty psyched about that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cute little, sweet
Um,
little baby angel.
but yeah, that's honestly about it. I've just Pokemon, computer, and
Hey, computer's
that's about
exciting,
it.
man.
Yeah, computers are
Computer
always
is really
exciting.
exciting.
In fact, when I got
I
my
took
computer,
mine to Geek Squad this week, and they told me they can't fix it. So that's great, right?
that sucks. Did they say like
Yeah.
what the
I'm
deal
surprised you
was?
didn't take it to Altex.
They seem to think it's just fans, so I'm gonna try to replace the fans and see what happens.
Well, I hope you
Yeah.
get it fixed soon. Getting a computer's a big deal though. I made my mom take a picture of me with mine, so I'm really excited.
And then through work, I'm gonna get a monitor here, and so I will have two monitors in my new computer.
Cool.
Nice.
Now you look like a hacker,
And
man.
I know.
Yeah.
I wish I had one of the ones that were like went vertical.
Yeah, you look like Hugh Jackman in Swordfish. Ever seen
Sure.
that?
Yeah.
He's a
No,
hacker
I
in
haven't
that.
seen it. I don't know what Swordfish is about, but isn't that the one with
Hugh
Halle
Jackman.
Berry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Halle Berry's in it.
That's all I know.
There's a part in the movie where John Travolta tells Hugh Jackman to hack something with a gun to his head while a lady is going down on him. Going down on Hugh Jackman, I mean. And he's trying to hack.
Okay, good.
And he does it. So,
I mean, he's a multitasker.
yeah, good hacker.
Good old Hugh.
Yeah.
He's the greatest showman. So.
Sure.
So, this week you guys wanted to talk about games that are hidden gems.
Yes.
So I just figured, like, we used to do Check It Out, and that's kind of what that was.
Yeah.
We haven't done that in a while.
A long
You know.
time. A very long
So I
time.
figured it'd be fun to just do an episode where we go through some of our favorites.
I've got a lot of them, and I'm sure.
Wait,
Huh?
are we supposed to be going through things that we did a check it out on, or
No,
No. I haven't done a check it out on most of these.
Yeah, I haven't done a Check It Out on any of these, but yeah. I just thought it would be fun to go through some of these games that we felt went under the radar for most people.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm
Yeah.
very stoked to hear what you guys have.
So I have nothing but a segment.
That's okay.
That's all right.
I only have a handful. I think Ryan's probably going to have more than anybody.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I mean, when we did the check it out, it made me play more games and more variety, and I liked when we did that. But and like I was saying before the show, I don't really think of games that I play as hidden gems. Maybe it's because I'm into Tomy games and that's a bit more niche
I like
than
those.
Yeah.
like other genres. But I don't know, it's just not like the way that like I perceive any of them, and I feel like calling any of them hidden gems is like a disservice.
See, so for me, it's like those games that are really good games, but like their sales weren't great, so obviously a lot of people missed them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also just don't know game sales.
Yeah.
All right, so what do you got, Tom? Or do you want to go first, Ryan?
Tom, go
Aw.
first.
Oh,
Bubba.
sweet little Bubba. First game I have is a game called Child of Eden. So you guys may remember Child of Eden from the launch of the Xbox 360's Kinect.
Yep.
It was also there at the launch of the PlayStation 3 Move.
Was it?
It rings 0 bells.
I
Yeah.
did not know it was on the with. I worked when this game came out.
Wait,
Yeah.
Like I worked at GameStop, and I only remember the Kinect version.
is it like a shoot 'em up of sorts?
So Child of Eden
It's
is
a real shooter.
Tetsuya
Okay.
Mizuguchi game.
Like music game.
It's
Okay.
Yeah, it's sort of, right? It's like Rez. It's a successor to Rez. And everybody loved Rez. But nobody played this one, and I think it's because it was so heavily tied to those, motion control
Well, it was a launch
peripherals.
game, wasn't it?
For motion control, yeah.
So like those games
but-
are not really known for being good.
Right. But I'm here to tell you, one, you don't have to play it with that shit. You can play it with a regular controller.
Nice.
And it's better to play it with a regular controller, and it's fucking amazing, man. It's Rez. Like if you liked Rez, you will like this. But like,
It got
You know,
a lot of
it-
really high like review scores.
yeah, and it had the advantage of like being so much later than Rez was, so visually, it just looks so much better. It's like a fucking kaleidoscope, you know. Obviously, this is the studio that would become it's Q Games, so it's the guys that would become Enhance, right? So it's the same guys that brought you like Tetris Effects and stuff like that later on. But if you're into Rez and really trippy, weird, music-y games, you should definitely check it out. It's really cool, and there's like weird FMV shit in there too. So
Apparently, it was like presented or marketed like I'm reading about it right now as like an experiment on synesthesia. Which,
I don't know what that is.
So it's like whenever you like taste words or like assign like a color to a number, like it's whenever your like senses like combine.
Okay.
So like
And he does
Yeah.
weird shit like that, you know? But, like, it's just fantastic. Really good music, really good visuals. Yeah, might give you a seizure, and it's a lot of fun.
what else you got?
What else you got?
What else? What else you got?
I got this game that I've talked about
What you
here
got?
before called El Shaddai Ascension of the Metatron. So I'm not too much of a religious guy, not at all, as a matter of fact. But I tend to like works of fiction that center around religion. And I guess the book that this is based off of, even though it is as old as the Bible, it is considered to be non-canon, which is really funny to me. But yeah, you play as this guy Enoch who gets sent down by God to like bring back these angels that have fallen to Earth, who are, you know, causing a ruckus and fucking humans and shit. And it's really weird, right? Like it's such a weird game, but like, so it's a third person action game. Think like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, only the combat is way more simple. The combat basically works with like a rock paper scissors mechanic, and there's some light platforming, but like it does the whole Nier thing where it shifts perspectives, right? So it'll like switch from like behind the back to a fixed angle to side scrolling. But like it's just such a weird way of storytelling, and the visuals again. Like you've not seen a game that looks like El Shaddai, you know? It looks really weird. Like I guess Greece that came out a couple years ago is like the closest comparison, but still they're completely different, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of weird like iridescence in a lot of the textures, and just like
I
don't know.
remember the cover art was like all blue,
Yeah.
and it was just like it was just very bright. Like
Yeah.
it's not like it's one tone, but they all kind of blend together.
But yeah, it's just a super weird game, and nobody's fucking heard of it, man. Like, it's I don't know. It's kind of a shame. Like, there are better third-person action games, you know, even of that generation. But there's just nothing that looks or sounds like this game, you know.
Yeah.
And I just think it's really special. It's really cool. Next, I got a game called Maken X, which I talked about not too long ago, which is an Atlas published, Atlas developed Dreamcast, and I think they later made a PS2 port of it. First person sword fighting game, which you wouldn't think would work on a console that has one analog stick, but it works really well. And the characters' designs are super Persona, you know? I want to say they were working on this not too long after Persona 2. And like you can definitely see that. Yeah, just a really weird fucking game. Again, there's not a game like this game, you know. Like there are first-person sword fighting games, right? The fucking Elder Scrolls is first-person sword fights, or it can be, right? But it's different. You're like slicing them up and then doing like fucking Dante flips over their heads and shit, right? Like all in first person. It's just really weird. It's really cool. Abs is the only other person I know that like knows this game, you know?
Yeah, I'd never heard of it before you mentioned it before.
Yeah.
Apparently it was getting made and got published at the same time that Persona 2 did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which is weird, right? Because like PlayStation 2 was just getting ready to come out around then. But and then the last thing I have for my personal picks is Tatsunoko versus Capcom, which is funny because in the FGC you hear a lot of people talking about this game.
Yeah.
But like sales would show you that not a lot of people actually bought this game.
It was Wii only, right?
It was only for the Wii. It's this weird fucking company that most Americans don't know, you know? And it's just such an interesting crossover fighting game. That, like, you got to remember, this is before Marvel vs. Capcom 3, right? So this is where we see the introduction of, like, Frank West. But, like, you also get all of these other weird Capcom characters that either hadn't been in a crossover game before then, or some of them haven't been since, right? Well, we have, like, Onimusha characters, Lost Planet characters, Rival Schools characters, like... And then the Tatsunoko side's super cool, too. I don't know shit about any of them.
Sure.
But they're really neat.
No. Yeah.
But, like...
it was one of those games that, like, the only people that came in to buy it were people who, like, reserved it online, or, like, they were coming to the store to buy the games they knew we had it in stock.
Sure.
It was very, very rarely was it picked up by, like, the casual person, for sure.
But, like, what's neat about it, like, yeah, it's this bright, vibrant crossover Capcom game, so, like, it's going to sell. It's not going to sell, but, you know, people will take to it based on that. But, like, it's got universal air dashes, which is really weird for a Capcom fighter. It's got burst, which is kind of weird for a Capcom fighter. And it's got this really weird system called Baroque. So basically what Baroque is that anytime you can activate it and use your red life, like you sacrifice your red life to perform cancels. So the more red life you sacrifice, the more damage that you do. And you can use this for obviously extending combos, but you could even use it to like make things safe on block, you know?
Can you accidentally KO yourself doing that?
I don't think so, because it's just red life, right?
Right.
But yeah, you can just do like some very, very creative things with it, and I just think it's a really cool game. With Dolphin becoming more and more popular, and people emulating this game now, and the online version through Dolphin is actually runs quite well. It seems like more people are picking up the game. But yeah, just fantastic fighting game.
Is Dolphin like a Wii emulator?
It's a Wii GameCube emulator. Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's really cool.
All right, what you got, Ryan?
All right, y'all.
What else you got?
I'm waiting for one of y'all to like, I got.
I got. All right, so I got quite a few, but one of the ones I wanted to bring up first, which is a franchise really that I don't really talk about like hardly ever, is Chase HQ. Chase HQ is it's a franchise that goes way, way back. I don't think they've made a recent game in like 25 years. I think the last game that came out was like 25 years ago. And so if you don't know, Chase HQ, their basic premise is you are a police officer who drives a sports car and chases criminals and rams their car until they stop driving. And so it's kind of like it's mostly in that regard, it's mostly a racing game, except the object of the game is to make the person ahead of you just crash so you can arrest them. They made a few of those.
Hence the chase.
Sure. So they made a few of those games, and I always thought they were really cool, and I don't know a lot of people who have heard of them.
I never have.
Yeah,
nor have I seen any of these.
So they actually did they took Chase HQ in a really cool direction for one game where instead of you ramming the other car, they gave you a shoot button so that whenever you pressed it, your partner would stand up in the passenger seat and just like start blasting with this hand cannon he had at the other car. And it was like the coolest thing I'd ever seen at 9 years old. But
sounds like The Raid.
It's a really cool game. And then I think and I might be wrong, but I think the last game that they came out with was for the Super Nintendo, and this one was in first person, and it was doing some really cool things at the time because like damage modeling was kind of not that much of a thing back then, but that was kind of like a big part of the aesthetic of Chase HQ. And what they did was in this one, whenever you rammed the other car, like you would see like your car getting messed up like as you like did more damage, as you rammed their car more and more. And like when the guys would shoot at you, like you see bullet holes in your windshield and stuff like that, and it was just really cool. All of these games can be beaten in like one sitting, but I always thought they were really awesome. And I got another one on here called Azure Sky. So it's a PS1 game, and the core conceit of the game is that you live in this small town, and this town is like in some sort of decline, so you are tasked with revitalizing the town, and to do so you have to go into this mysterious tower on the outskirts of town and kill monsters and bring things back that you can use to upgrade the town. And when you go into, every time you go into the tower, you take a monster with you, and usually it's a monster that you got out of the tower to begin with, and each monster gives you different powers to give you different attacks, and like the higher up you get, the harder the monsters get, and of course the better the rewards.
Like a dungeon crawl.
Yeah, except like you're going upwards instead of downwards.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's not a pyramid scheme. It's a multi-level market.
Don't call it a dungeon crawler. You're going upwards, okay? So, but
it's not a pyramid. It's a funnel.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I think in my life I've heard like of one other person mention this game. but
The reverse dungeon crawler.
yeah, the dungeon climber. Um, yeah, it's
reverse cowgirl.
yeah. Uh, it's the reverse cowgirl of dungeon crawlers. um, but it's cool. Like you get like little, like you get more shops in the town. At some point, you get like different recreational facilities for the townspeople, and like people are happier because they have more stuff. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. What's it for? What, PS1 you say?
Yeah, PS1.
What is it called?
Azure Sky, like Azure Sky.
Oh.
And then I have another one that I did do a check it out on this a few years back, called Steambot Chronicles.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, it's okay. I'm gonna preface this by saying that most times I fucking hate steampunk. I think steampunk is the most lame thing. There are two
I
times.
think this may have been how you started your check it out.
There are two times.
It just makes me think of that fucking Key and Peele dude.
Oh yeah, umbrellas and balloons and shit. So there are two times when I'm okay with steampunk. The first is the Will Smith, Kevin Kline movie Wild Wild West. The second is this game.
This has been stated.
So the whole thing of the game is you have a bipedal robot called a Steambot, and what you're doing is you're this guy who wakes up with amnesia, and you were found by this band of musicians, and you kind of just take up with them, and as they travel from place to place, to perform music, you serve as their escort and on your Steambot, and you fight enemies for them, and every once in a while, like a boss battle will happen. And the cool thing about the Steambot is it can be outfitted to serve different purposes, for either the mission that you're about to do, or for different side activities that you can do to make money. Like for example, there's these people that are like, hey, we need somebody to haul a bunch of planks from the lumberyard for us. So you can go to an outfitter and get something put on your Steambot that allows you to haul lumber, and use that to make money, or you can fight in a coliseum to make money that way too. But it was I found this game around the time when I was actively going out of my way to buy every Atlas game that I saw, and this was and out of all the Atlas games that I played, this is definitely one of my favorites. I will say that overall it's completely voice acted, but all the acting is really bad. But they do allow you.
It's a sign of the time.
Yeah, they do allow you. What the funny thing about it is, in the instruction book, they're really smug about it, because they expressly state that there is no Japanese voiceover for the American version of the game. And they basically say something along the lines of deal with it or something like that. Just but it's I don't know. It's I'll have to find it, but yeah. But you could also be a street musician to raise money, and you can play different instruments like a guitar or a tambourine or a harmonica. Or
tambourine.
Yeah, and
it's steampunk. Why wouldn't there be tambourine?
Sure.
Yeah, Mr. Tambourine Man.
And it's got a very simplistic rhythm game interface for you to do that with, and it's a cool game. I like it. I haven't been able to play it for a while because I haven't really had a PS2 hooked up, but I would play it again if I were to set that up. Another one. Binary Domain.
Oh man,
I fucking love this fucking game. So it's a third-person shooter third-person squad-based tactical shooter that came out that was made by Sega for the 360, and I think the PS3 also.
Yeah, it was.
Yep.
So Basically, the whole thing of this game is you're this special forces guy, and there's you're sent in because there's some kind of robot uprising happening, and then in quelling that uprising, you unearth a larger conspiracy having to do with like other robots. So you and your team have to go fight these robots.
I forget sometimes how much you hate androids and robots.
So like
It's why he hasn't played Nier Automata.
So I think a lot of people get a lot of people think that I hate robots, and I don't necessarily
You
hate
hate
robots.
He loves the Terminator.
I love, but here's the thing. I feel like the Terminator is you know what? Never mind. I'm not gonna get down that rabbit hole.
I'm just saying, like,
It's a
the
whole
amount
thing.
of like hatred in your voice right now, where you're like robots. Before
Yeah.
this,
Well,
it's
to
very
be
passionate
fair,
to like not
to
hate
be
robots.
fair, the entire game they're shooting at you. So
That is really cool. That's one part of that game I remember being really cool is when you're shooting up those fucking robots and they're
Yeah.
falling apart.
yeah, they don't give up. Like you shoot off their legs, they're still
Yeah.
crawling at you, like shooting at you.
Yeah. That
Um,
was
I was
really
like,
good.
and it's the same guy who made the Yakuza series, so of course you love it.
Yeah, I guess that's why I like it. But like,
Those squad commands, though, man.
it's
I
just
couldn't
really
do it.
well. Like that's the thing too is that like a lot of games that I played that had squad command stuff in it, like you could almost completely ignore that stuff because the AI will just like do what they're gonna do anyway. So for the most part I ignored all that stuff. And the
So this one had the voice commands, right?
Yeah,
So
so
I
you-
tried.
yeah.
I was trying to get that shit to work. And
Yeah.
they never
Well, like
worked.
a lot of and especially a lot of the games that came out, I think like between like '07 and 2013, like a lot of the games that try to do stuff with voice commands, like the voice commands were like that shit usually didn't work
Shoddy.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, there was a game called Lifeline that came out for the PS2, and like you only control the character with voice commands, but apparently that shit worked really bad. So anyway, like the funny thing about Binary Domain is it goes in like this really weird place where at some point everybody realizes that the robots can self-replicate. I shouldn't say self-replicate. They can have sex with humans, and the robots can get pregnant, and then you can be half robot.
That's
and-
what I like.
And so there's a part
I,
there's a part near the end of the game where like somebody who's been in your team the whole
if you're
time.
gonna make a robot, someone's gonna fuck it, I guess.
She's been in your team. She's been in your team the whole time, and then she finds out all this shit about herself, and she feels like, I found out that I'm half robot, and then now and that knowledge unlocked like all these like abilities in her, like she could jump. It's a whole weird
Filthy
thing.
fucking
If you think it,
half-bot.
you can. If you can believe it, it's real.
I'm pretty sure that the derogatory term they used for robots in that game was bucket heads, but uh, but it's a good game nonetheless. I liked it a lot. And but oh, by the way, if you're going to play it, it is out on Steam, but I feel like that port is not great. So if you can get it for the 360 or PS3, you should go that route.
Oh, they root.
Let's see. Oh, so this is one that I played more recently. It's called West of Dead. And
Oh, I remember seeing that.
so in the game, you are a cowboy who has been killed, and you are in purgatory, and you're trying to find your way to the afterlife. But for some reason, nobody can make it to the afterlife. It's all gunked up with a bunch of bullshit happening. So you
Fucking afterlife.
yeah, it's been fucked for years, but you go. It's the way I describe this game is it is almost literally Dead Cells. If you took Dead Cells, you made the view isometric, and replaced all the swords with guns. But
Weird.
but otherwise it is almost completely identical. Like the same upgrade system, like the same progression system, like all that is like basically the same. So that being said, as someone who likes Dead Cells a whole lot, this game was. I like Dead Cells. I like Cowboys, and also I like Ron Perlman, who voices the protagonist. So all those put together made for a pretty badass game to me. I played it because I saw it on Game Pass, and I was like, I'll try this, and it's really cool. I think it's still in early access right now, but it seems finished. But I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. I know that the game has been shown a few times, but I don't think I've heard of a lot of people playing it. But it's a really cool game. Like you can, like basically, it's cover based. So like every time you're in cover, you're always like when you're fighting from cover, you're always safe, but your cover degrades as it takes damage. So you kind of have to keep moving around. And one of the ways that you can kind of get an advantage over room from enemies is like turning on like, igniting different like light sources, because that stuns them temporarily, and you can do extra damage to them while they're stunned. But as you're running through from room to room, you're finding different guns and like other secondary weapons. Like there's a throwing knife that you can get that freezes enemies, and then you can do extra damage to them while they're frozen. But it's like again, it's basically Dead Cells with guns, and it's really cool. Let's see. Oh, there's a game that Tom and I started playing a few years back, when we both had computers, called Grim Dawn. And,
oh yeah, Grim Dawn was great.
So
that's popular though.
I don't know. I can't speak to I don't know how popular any of these games are.
Yeah.
I can only base it on whether or not I've heard other people talk about it.
Sure.
So
go ahead.
Do you want to run through your list, or
go ahead?
You ready to give some opinions?
What?
I'm asking, does he obviously has a list of games. Do you
Yeah.
want to go through and name them all, or am I good?
Oh, I could name them, I guess. I don't know. I'm not I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm really I'm being honest. I'm not understanding the question. I don't. I'm sorry.
So you were mumbling and being and going through your list. So I was like, all right, you don't want to talk about the rest of them, or
oh, I mean,
no, he's been talking about them.
Well, yeah, I'm saying long pause this time. So I just didn't know if he needed a lifeline where he was done with it and wanting to finish, or if
I'm kind of jumping around. So I think the best thing to do would have been to just go down instead of jumping around.
That's okay.
Fuck, I lost my train of thought. Oh, so Mutant Football League. I did check it out on this a few years back, around when it came out. Have either of you guys ever played Mutant League Football?
No, but I've seen it.
So, first of all, Mutant League Football is great. Even if you don't like football video games or sports video games, you should absolutely play Mutant League Football, because it's just so silly and weird, because you can kill the other players. They made
the hockey one too.
Yeah, the hockey one's really good, but you'll be on football fields with that have mines on them. And so, the guy will be running with the ball, he'll step on a mine and explode, and then the ball will drop, and then you can grab it. So basically, Mutant Football League is the spiritual successor to that game, it's made by the same people who made the original game, and they got the announcer from NBA Jam to be the announcer in this game. So that's really cool. And it's basically it's almost literally the same game from the Sega Genesis, which just some updated graphics and everything, and that obviously the teams are different, but while the teams are different, the makeup of those teams is still identical, but it's still I think they what they've done is they have taken the core idea of Mutant League Football and added a few different other some other variants to the game. One of the things that they added was weird sandworms could jump out of the ground and grab the player and kill him, and then and stuff like that. But even one of the things that I remember doing as a kid, and something that you can still do in this game, is that you can bribe the ref. So he'll make all of these bullshit calls.
Oh yeah.
It's he'll make all these bullshit calls, so the other team loses all this yardage. The other team will get ready to snap the ball, and then the whistle will blow. He's like, penalty on number 64 for nose picking 5 yards, and they'll have to go back 5 yards because the dude was picking his nose. And then that'll happen a few times until the other team wises up and kills the ref. And then they have to get another ref who like can't be bribed. But I don't know. It's a fun game, and like I think it's simple enough to where, because I don't play Madden or I don't play Madden or anything like that. So I don't actually understand.
It's basically
football.
the same.
Yeah. Well, like I don't actually understand football. So like a game like this that's silly and like really really simple without all the strategy of actual football video games is like perfect for me. But like, because I really don't think we're gonna get another Mutant League game like ever, which is a shame because they really should do that. But
I remember watching you play that one.
yeah, and I had an idea in my head like a while back that like I never got around to, because I'm lazy, but like I thought it would be really fun to get some friends together and like have like a little Mutant Football League tournament just to see who won, and because it's just such a silly time. So the next one is Tormentor X Punisher. I did a check on this.
You were way into
Dude,
that one, man.
Tormentor X Punisher is like such a rad game, and like it's a game that I played. I think I got up to like 80 hours in that game, and I still have no idea like how most of the mechanics work. So so like it's an endless horde game, and you get different upgrades by pulling off different things at like during that run. Like if you get enough kills like by doing enough like by bullets ricocheting off the wall, that's one upgrade. Or if you get enough kills by like causing somebody to electrocute someone else, that's another upgrade. It's a whole like weird system that I never quite figured out. But it's fun because it's like it's super violent, it's super loud, and like the character that you play is like, as she's killing guys, she's like just yelling swear words the whole time, which is like, I'm 35.
A lot of screaming.
Yeah, it's a lot of screaming. I'm 35 years old, and that's still like super entertaining to me. Like I'm still like really into that stuff. And it's one of those games where like every time I play it, and I do this with both Left 4 Dead games too. It's like every time I play it, I watch the beginning cutscene every time. I don't know why. It's the same. It's still dumb. It's more dumb every time I watch it, but I still watch it every time.
But it's animated in an interesting way, though.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. It's got like kind of like an MTV cartoon kind of vibe.
Like Liquid Television.
Yeah, like Liquid Television. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was then the next one is Phantom Dust, which I believe was slated for like a reboot recently, but then that ended up not happening.
I know they re-released it on PC and I think Xbox One not long ago.
Yeah. But
it wasn't really a reboot as much as it was just like an up-resed version, I think.
Yeah. So it was kind of like, I don't know, it was it's probably one of the more interesting approaches to a deck building video game that I've seen. Still, in that game, I think like the original Phantom Dust is like 15 years old at this point. So what you do is you get your cards together, and all your cards are different spells, and then you and your opponent go into this arena, and you play the different cards to do different spells at each other, but you're still running around like trying to dodge each other's spells and stuff, and and like you're flying around the level, and it doesn't get any. There's nothing more to it than that. That's just it's that.
Play cards and fly around.
Yeah, and it was like, and it's cool though, you know, and because I think like even now like a lot of every deck building game that I've seen recently is like either you are literally like sitting at a table like playing playing cards, or there's some other kind of graphic interface like a Slay the Spire sort of thing, but like very rarely are you like directly controlling your character, like dodging the cards that the other player is playing. So I don't know. I was really stoked for when they said that they were doing stuff with Phantom Dust, and then I guess maybe it didn't garner enough interest. I don't know.
So I mean, Hand of Fate was like you get dealt a hand and you go into like you're in a small arena, right?
Yeah.
But with several enemies.
Yeah, and so you deal you play a few different cards. You have your weapon card, and then you have the arena card, and then you have the cards that say what kind of enemies are going to be in that level.
That's right. That's right.
So the first game in the first Hand of Fate was it was a cool concept, but like a lot of the environments and enemies were like very samey.
Yeah.
And but Hand of Fate 2 like actually like kind of like they fleshed that out a lot, and
But still
added more
quite
variety.
different from Phantom Dust.
Yes, very very much so.
Yeah.
Because Phantom Dust didn't have any like melee combat. It was like like you were shooting fireballs or lightning at each other, and I don't think you
Sure.
had anything where like you were like swinging a sword or anything. So the next one is called Cryptarch. So the core conceit of this game is that
You bought me this,
I bought you that.
right?
Yeah, because it was one of those games that I thought was so cool that I was like, you know what? I bet Tom would like playing this too.
Yeah.
I believe you did not, but
It does look like a Ryan Robinson-ass game, though.
it's really neat. It's really neat. Like, you know, you're in this like kind of like this flying mech suit, and you go into these derelict ships to I guess your task is usually to like disable like the central core of the ship, so that like your crew can like scavenge it, and you'll get bonuses by like leaving certain things functioning or disabling specific things. Like you might get a bonus for like, you know, leave the security system intact, or like disable the shield system, or disable the self-repair system. And you just go through each of these different ships. They're procedurally generated, and they all vary in difficulty. And like obviously, the more difficult the ship is supposed to be, the better the rewards.
Yeah.
But it's cool. But like it's cool, like flying like in this 360 space, and strafing around like while shooting two these two giant machine guns on the ends of your hands, and like watching all the shell casings fly off and like all the explosions happen. It's a really neat game. I was never any good at it, as with most games, but I always thought the concept was really
As
cool.
is tradition.
As is tradition in the Robinson clan. I'm doing my lineage proud. I don't know. I actually do think that I'm the only person in my family that plays video
I mean,
games.
try to think about trying to explain any of these games to your ancestors like 100 years ago.
Well, like I try to explain like any video game to them, and it's like, well, like yeah, because I think video games are like when you're in them, like as like in present day, like you look at video games and you're just like, okay, that's neat, but like when you actually sit down and think about like the concept of like a lot of video games and like what you do in these video games, it's actually like really weird. Like a lot of these games are like super fucking like Phantom Dust. Like, this is a weird fucking game, but I loved it.
Monkey Ball.
Yeah, like like with the Monkey Ball, it's like, so basically, you have a monkey, right? You put him in the ball. And then
mini games.
And the mini games. And you gotta try not to fall off the edge. And then someone will say, "You mean like Marble Madness?" Like, no, it's not Marble Madness. There's a monkey in the ball.
Sometimes it can pop it open and fly a little bit. It goes a little further.
It's just you have to play it. Just don't talk about it until you've played it. Yeah. Beatdown Fists of Vengeance is a Capcom game that came out for the PS2 and original Xbox, and it's I think this is around like is the mid 2000s when brawlers were really starting to kind of taper off a little bit at the time. This is in a pre Castle Crashers world. And so basically, you play as one of four characters who was betrayed by their former gang boss, and you are making your way through the city, beating people up and recruiting people into your gang so that you can take down the gang boss. Which is ironic because the last boss fight is just you guys. It's just you and him. So what was the point of the game? But
to make sure that y'all were the top.
You're recommending it.
Yeah, but I mean the game is fun though. So you're basically going throughout the city and like you're fighting different guys, and then at some point, like if you can decide, like after you beat them, you can decide, are you going to kill the guy or are you going to recruit him to your gang? And so like different guys have like different skills. Like some of them are better with certain weapons. Some of them are better at certain fighting styles. Sometimes like a gang member or a member of your game might
What's
get, what's that?
what's wrong with Raven's face?
Don't worry about his face, man. He's just look. He's had look. They've all had a hard time. Okay, uh, but like
Also, all these character models look very Payday-esque. I don't know
this.
why, but like
Well,
as
this
soon as
is
I
like
saw it, I was like, oh, these are
yeah.
the
This
characters
is
from
like
that.
yeah. This is like late Xbox One or late
Yeah.
original Xbox rather.
And on PlayStation 2. Yeah.
Yeah. But like sometimes like you'll have a moment where a moment where one of your gang members might get arrested, so you have to go to the precinct and fight all the fucking cops and then bust them out.
yeah.
It's really cool.
I thought you were gonna have to go in and pay bail.
No, you literally walk in
Bail.
you literally walk into the police station and just fight all the cops, and then you get your buddy out. It's a fun game. It's
Down.
it's a fun time. I can't remember. I feel like I know that you're looking at it right now, Shanae. I don't know if the game had multiplayer in it. I feel like it did, but
Oh, I'm just looking at screenshots
Oh,
of the
okay.
game.
yeah,
Hence, what the fuck is wrong with Raven's face?
I don't know. I always played as Gina, but so yeah. So then the next one I have is Disc Jam. Disc Jam. A lot of
Isn't
people.
this like kind of Windjammers?
I mean, it's Windjammers if you took out all the special moves, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's a game. I don't remember. I think it was a PS Plus game at some point.
I believe so.
Yeah. It's very simple. You have one disc, 2 players. You throw the disc back and forth, try to make the disc fly past the opponent and into the goal. First person to however
Like
many
Pong.
points it was. It's basically Pong. But it's so like the strategy is catching the disc and repositioning yourself in a way that you can throw it to kind of trip the other person up. This is a game that Kaylee and I played a lot of when we first started dating. We had a very intense rivalry. I came out on top, and
Well,
I came
Well,
out.
obviously, if you lost,
I'm
then
waiting
y'all
to
would have
hear
broken
if
up.
I can hear her say something in the background.
So she's
If she has, like,
she's
some
look she's
kind
being silent because she knows that it's true. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
She's not gonna embarrass you in front of all your internet friends.
That is actually not true. She will absolutely do that. It's a very simple. I think there are different characters that you can choose. They all have different styles of the way that they throw the disc, and like some of them like do like curve throws, and other ones do like spiral throws and stuff like that. But like it's a very easy game to just like pick up and get into. It's close. I would say it's closer to Pong than Windjammers. But either way, it's a good time. And I don't know actually how much it costs because I didn't pay for it.
$14.99.
Nice. So Kill
Name's on top of it.
Kill Switch.
I have a computer now. You can't fuck with me.
Look, today I promise you, I will never fuck with you again. I've been waiting for this moment.
Nope.
I will never fuck with you. Okay, I
That's
promise.
that's a promise you're about to break. Probably by the end of this podcast.
Hey, look. I'm a man of my word. Okay. So Kill Switch. Tom, I'm pretty sure you've heard of this. I don't know, Shanae, if you've heard of Kill Switch.
That sounds super familiar. It sounds like it was a. I don't know what it. I don't know. I'm probably mixing it up with something else. Or I'm thinking about the band Kill Switch Engage. Like I don't know.
So.
I don't know.
It's all right. So I think this is probably, as far as outside of Time Crisis, this is the first cover-based shooter that I've ever played, I think. And I feel like I remember feeling like it was revolutionary for the time because I guess I had never played. I don't know. I don't know if because I had never played another cover-based shooter or what, but I remember having so much fun with it. each level you're just going through like different waves of enemies and like taking cover behind whatever you can, like and taking and like just shooting at them and just keep shooting until they're dead. I remember how cool it was to like blind fire around a corner and like taking guys out that way.
So it is a light gun game.
No, it is
Okay.
it's a third person shooter. This was the third person cover based shooter before Gears of War came out.
Yeah, just because you said Time Crisis, I just assumed.
Yeah, I feel like I guess I felt like if I said I'd never played a cover based shooter before, then someone was gonna say, "Have you never played Time Crisis?" And I'm like, "Oops, I have."
Yeah.
He was stopping you from like, gotcha.
Look, I'm not in the market to get got right now, okay? But it was. I think it's one of the few Namco games that I've played that wasn't a fighting game. But like it's a very simplistic game, but it's I think especially for the time, it's a very fun third person shooter. Just kind of, you have your assault rifle. In fact, you have the one assault rifle, and then you have some grenades, and you just make your way. Just the one. Okay, and you just make your way through different levels, like throwing grenades and shooting at guys. It's just a cool shooter that I don't think a lot of people played. And I guess I know the game didn't review very well, but I think if we're talking about numerical, scores, it was getting like 5s out of 10. So, but I don't know. I think it's a really fun game. And I just got a couple more on here. So the next one is I lost my place. Okay, the next one is State of Emergency.
Man, I knew that was going to come up. Whenever you talked about the last beat 'em up you were talking about, I was like, that sounds like a State of Emergency kind of game. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so it's basically
that game, dude.
It's so okay. So State of Emergency is basically Riot, the video game.
Yeah.
Dope.
So I like it. So basically, like, you play as one of 4 characters. One is one is like a former cop. Another one is an escaped convict. Another one's a news reporter. Another one is like just some guy. So the first level of the game is like you're in a mall in the midst of a riot, and people are just running around. And then, like, there are riot cops that are trying to restore order, I guess, and you're beating them up while also throwing Molotov cocktails into people's businesses. And then
it's a state of emergency. What else are you gonna do?
It's a state of emergency, Shanae.
This was never an arcade game, right?
No.
I remember it feeling very arcade.
Yeah, it's got a very arcade feel to it because, like, you'll throw the Molotov into the business, and then like a score value will pop up.
Yeah.
And so like the whole game, like, it feels like an arcade game, but this was like at the point where like arcades were not really a thing anymore. It's one of those Rockstar games that like people don't really talk about because it was like after GTA. Hold on. Okay. It was after GTA 3, but before Manhunt. So it was kind of like
where does table tennis fall?
Table tennis was after GTA 4, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
After 4?
Yeah. Wait, no, it was before 4. I think it came out
I'm pulling it up right now.
1 or 2 years before GTA 4.
Okay.
I think.
So so State of Emergency is
2002.
After Grand Theft Auto 3. It is 2002.
Nice.
You are right.
Man, it was after State of Emergency was after GTA 3.
Yeah.
Yep, and it was right before Vice City.
The balls you must have to release State of Emergency after GTA 3.
Yeah.
So Rockstar Table Tennis came out before 4, but after Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories.
So
Table Tennis came out 2006. 4 came out 2008.
It's a fun game. There's the Xbox version though added multiplayer, but like it just is kind of weird.
No good.
I never understood like I don't remember knowing the point of the multiplayer because it wasn't cooperative. It was like weirdly competitive in some way, but I don't remember exactly the object of the game.
Whose
But
emergency is bigger?
who can make the biggest emergency?
I'll play that game.
And I just got two more here. So Terminator 3 Redemption.
Oh yeah,
So
that was a cool one.
in my opinion, one of the best video games based on that franchise. So, like its namesake, it is based on the third film in the franchise. Very huge focus on vehicles in the game. There's some on foot sections, but most of the game you're like in a vehicle of some kind. And one of the things I love about the game is the different ways that it was able to like give you different like perspectives on different parts of that movie by like playing it like a different way. Like there's a part where not the T-1000, the Terminatrix is like going after John Connor, and you gotta catch up to the Terminatrix, but the Terminatrix is in a sports car, and you're in this old pickup, so you have to take a shortcut, and you're doing all these jumps in the pickup, like to make sure you stay caught up, and but one of my favorite feature of that game is that it had a button on the controller specifically for spouting one-liners, and
Nice.
I would press that button a lot, and there's a part where you're on the back of a truck, and there are T-800 skeletons that have grabbed the back of the truck. You shoot the thing's head off, and the Terminator says, "Don't lose your head." And then he kills another one. He's like,
So play it.
I recommend it. But it is a legitimately good game though. Especially like, and I know that franchise, like that license, doesn't have a whole lot of good games associated with it, but that is definitely one of the really good ones.
I think there's an okay amount of them, you know.
Yeah, I liked that one. There was another one that was kind of a prequel called Terminator Dawn of Fate.
I think
PlayStation
that's
2.
the one I remember.
Yeah, that's a really cool one too.
Yeah. And then the NES Terminator was pretty cool.
I didn't play that one.
It's a little side scroller.
Are you Kyle Reese? Yeah.
For some reason, you're in the fucking sewers, and there's a bunch of Terminators in the sewers, like multiple Terminators in the sewers.
He couldn't even handle the one.
Yeah.
How is he gonna handle multiple? Hold on. Oh, there it is. All right, and lost my place again. My bad. Oh, okay. There we are. So there was also one. I'm gonna bring it up. You can't play it anymore, as far as I know. But
Well, what's the point?
because it was a cool.
PT.
So there's a game that I liked a lot called Hellgate London. And it's basically like hell has taken over the world, specifically in London.
I was like, the world or London?
And well, they don't actually state what the state of the rest of the world is, but I imagine if hell is in London, then everything else is kind of fucked
I mean,
up.
I guess London could be the Hellmouth in like the first place.
Yeah, the big mouth. So, the game was made by the creative. I believe it was the creative director of the original Diablo, and it basically plays like that, except it's like it's a third or first person shooter, loot based. And you have different classes that you can control. Like you have two classes that are like basically like the tank that use an armor, and they have a sword. The other ones are they use guns, and they have like different like machines to help them out. And the other two are like magic users. And I like one of the things I liked about it is that on all the weapons and armor, like you can like one of the pieces of loot that you get is different like modules that you can load on your guns or on your sword or whatever to like upgrade different properties of that weapon to like so they can like amplify a certain kind of damage or make the weapon like maybe your weapon doesn't do fire damage, but you put that module on the gun, and now it does fire damage.
Yeah.
And it was cool because like everyone that you put on the weapon was like it was visually represented on the gun, or if you put it on the armor, it was like visually represented on the armor. And it didn't like garner like the player base to like keep it going, so the game was ultimately shut down. But like it was cool because I think that like there are a lot of ARPGs out there that are basically Diablo, and
Yes, there are.
and that game felt like such like a really huge like breath of fresh air because I hadn't like this was keep in mind this was before Borderlands came out, by the way.
Yeah.
So I think it was like 07 or 08 when this game came out, and it just felt cool like being able to play an ARPG that was like also a shooter was like a really cool experience.
You can't single player it nowadays.
Maybe I don't know where you're gonna. It's not you can't buy it anywhere.
Oh.
I have a physical. I was throwing through my games earlier. Actually, I found my physical copy of the game.
Well, that's what I mean. Like if you go on eBay and buy a disc.
Yeah, I think the game will still boot up in single player mode, but I'm not sure about that. Yeah, and I think that like I remember when the game got shut down, and I was like really really hoping. I was like, please let them bring it back. I kept hearing rumors about them bringing back, and like there are people who like this was back when I believed online petitions meant something, and like I saw online petitions like to bring the game back. I was like, dude, they have so many signatures. This game's gonna come back. I know it. Well, obviously it didn't, but
Yeah.
That's
very
cute.
funny.
yeah, so it goes. But yeah, that was actually. Wow, I actually did get through all of the games on my list. Except, I put Marathon on here. But it's Marathon was important to me because it was the first-person shooter game that I ever played where I could look in all directions.
Yeah.
And it did some really cool stuff with like, I don't know if you'd call this physics because I don't know if it's physics or not. But there was a gun in the game called a fusion pistol. And if you shot the fusion pistol while you were standing in water, it would kill you. So,
Shit.
but like it would also kill anybody who also was standing in water. But it was cool because it let you look in all directions. It had like dynamic NPC behavior. Sometimes you had like friendly NPCs that would come and try to help you, and they would fight against the aliens that were trying to kill you. This is the first-person shooter that Bungie made before Halo.
It's still easy to get a hold of too.
Yeah, I think they re-released it on the 360 at some point.
They did, yeah.
And yeah, it's a really, really, really cool game, especially for the time. I never did finish it because I always had like the hardest time like navigating the levels in that game. But the game is it's a really fun like first-person shooter, especially now that when I think about it, I now have like this revitalized appreciation for 90s first-person shooters, and this was one of those that was like doing things that like I had never seen before. This was before I ever played Turok or Duke Nukem, so like those hadn't had the opportunity to blow my mind yet. And also like me being like the person who loves Terminator 2. A lot with Arnold like spinning the lever action shotgun when he's reloading it. The Marathon has it to where you can dual wield these two shotguns. And every time you shoot him, he flips them. He flips them every time he shoots them. And so it's really neat.
Dusk does that too.
Yeah, Dusk is another one of those games where like if you have an appreciation for like 90s shooters and like everything about those games, and like that's definitely like a good tribute. Also, Ion Fury is a game you should check out if you like those. But yeah, thank you for letting me get through my entire list because it was really long. But I have a lot of games that I love.
It's okay. There's more to get through. I've got the list for all the guys in the Discord. And we'll go through these fast because I don't know a lot of these games. If you guys do know these games, though, speak up and tell me what they are, okay?
Let's go through them. And also, but don't name names on who suggested what.
I'm going to. Corey brought up Iconoclast, which I did play a little bit of.
That sounds familiar.
It was a PS Plus game. It was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I know Iconoclast. I played 10 minutes of that game.
2D game.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. I just never got around to it.
Yeah.
He also brings up The Incredible Adventures of Van Helsing 1, 2, and 3.
I've seen those games a million times, but
yeah, they're like Diablo-esque games.
Yeah,
and
they're always on sale.
I've never played them.
And I still don't buy them for some reason.
And Anodyne, which I have no idea what that is.
I've heard of Anodyne.
Yeah.
But I don't think I know what that game is.
James Sandusky brings up Axelay, which is a really cool, if I'm thinking of the right game, really cool SNES side-scrolling shooter.
Axelay?
Like it's a shoot 'em up.
Okay.
And I think it has a hillbilly on the cover. Really weird. If it's the game I'm thinking of.
Oh, then that's definitely James Sandusky's video game.
I say it is a Super Nintendo game. It kind of looks like it has like a demon in like the top left corner and the bottom right, kind of like a spaceship, I guess.
Okay.
I don't know.
I might not be thinking of the right game. I might be thinking the wrong one. Anyways, Space Griffin. I have no idea what that is.
Wait, what is it? Space Griffin?
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I just want it to be a real thing.
Mystical Ninja, which I believe is the N64 Goemon game.
I think I feel like that's a game that made frequent appearances on Nick Arcade.
Maybe. I don't know. He's got Willow on here, which there are several video game versions of Willow.
I only know the arcade one.
There's the arcade one and there's an NES one. But both of them are good. So that's fine. He's got Drakengard 3, which is infamous for having extremely bad frame rate. But that game looks badass, and I'll get to it at some point. G.I. Joe Arcade, which is cool.
I didn't know that was a thing.
And one we all played, Wario Land on the Virtual Boy. So
nice.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then Kyle brought up The Bourne Conspiracy for Xbox 360 and PS3. I haven't played that game, but I can imagine what it is like.
I'm imagining a Splinter Cell Conviction kind of deal.
So it's like a Jason Bourne game.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I imagine. Did you play Quantum of Solace on Xbox 360?
No.
That's what I'm picturing. So Quantum of Solace was like James Bond, but like it was done by Call of Duty devs, so it was like super fun, you know.
It was a first-person shooter, right?
It was third person, but
I thought that was first person.
Yeah, super cool. And I have no idea if that's what the Bourne Conspiracy is like, but that's the way I imagine it. So.
Yeah. Well, that's how. Let's never play it, so we always think it's that.
No, I'm gonna order that. I've been playing a lot of 360 lately.
Yeah, we have
nice.
We have a 360 in our room that I need to hook up because I've got a lot. I got a whole fucking case of 360 games that need to get played.
Yeah, crack them open.
Yeah, I'm gonna crack.
I mean, you're not doing it right now.
Okay.
Any other suggestions?
No, that's it. But thanks, guys, and I will actually play some of them. I can see 3 here that I will play. So.
So whenever I was doing trying to think of hidden gem games for this, since I don't really think of it that way, I was underrated games, things like that, and a lot of them just seem kind of lame. So then I started looking at commercial failures. Well, as far as the list goes, and then I just looked at all consoles.
Yeah.
I would never.
Hey, look, Watch Mojo is a reliable source. Good
Go
information.
fuck yourself.
Good opinions. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I just moved my video on my phone to be over your face, Ryan, and I'm really glad I did it. So I don't have to see that garbage come out of there. So then I was looking at lists on consoles, all the games, trying to remind myself. But I ended up finding like a Wikipedia thing where it's like commercial failures in video games, and it's like
Cool.
hardware, softwares, and other stuff.
Yeah.
And so if any of y'all listening ever get bored, go through that list and then like hit us up and let us know what you think about some of the things, or specifically me. Just at me. I will get on if I'm added.
No,
No one ever adds me.
it's happened.
Yeah. But I turn on notifications. But I turn on notifications on my phone now.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, because there's a lot of things I forgot about, at least like hardware wise on there. Or if you have any comments on any of the hidden gem games we've mentioned, you can let us know about those. Any closing thoughts, guys?
No. Except play the games I mentioned.
Yeah. Well, obviously that. Check them out.
Play at least 1/3 of the games Ryan mentioned.
Yeah, definitely don't play all of those games, man.
He mentioned too
No,
many.
play
for
all
you.
of them.
Yeah. Look, I was telling Tom that I'm having a really hard time remembering anything I played before the PS2 Xbox era.
Mm.
And it's too many games. That's what it'll do to you. It'll fuck your brain up. Video games were a mistake.
I regret everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can listen to us on most podcast providers. We are on the YouTube, so we got a Discord, and it will be linked. And bye, guys.
Later.
Wait. I'm sorry. Before we go, this just popped into my brain.
This just did.
Is it another game? Because we're not doing this.
Hold on. Oh, okay. So I had been getting asked more recently about us receiving emails. So if you do want to email us, our email address is still active. SaveContinuePodcast@gmail.com. Send them emails, okay? If you want to send emails about asking questions or whatever, send them in, okay? I just want to say that because we've been getting asked about the email. I've been getting asked about the email address more recently, so just say it.
Okay.
SaveContinuePodcast@gmail.com.
Because we're professional, so
Offer
we
code
use Gmail.
podcast.
That's right.
I'll put the email address in the description, but
We used to have podcast at SaveContinue.com, but they stopped paying for that.
Yeah, so yeah, but Gmail is free. SaveContinuePodcast@gmail.com. Okay, I said it 3 times. You got it.
Bye, guys.
Later.